Here's something that, quite frankly, I'm surprised we don't hear about more often, and that is how our smartphones can actually be used as gaming consoles. And I don't just mean handheld consoles either, though they can be used as those too. Let me explain. So basically what you see in front of you here is everything you need to have a console-like experience with your phone.
So the first thing you need to get this up and running is a smartphone that supports video over USB-C. I'll add a link to a list of these devices in the video description, so just check that your device appears on this list before trying this. But iPhones with the Lightning port should also work. Then you'll need a video cable, like this USB-C to HDMI cable I have here.
I will link to this one in the description. It's an affiliate link, so if you do decide to buy one of these, I will get a commission on that, and if that happens, that would be fantastic. If you have an iPhone and it's a slightly older model, you won't be able to use USB Type-C. Instead, you'll need to get Lightning to HDMI cable. Just bear that in mind. I chose this particular USB-C to HDMI cable because of its high bandwidth, because I do have another one which I've had for a few years now, and when I tried it out, I noticed that there was a lot of input lag, and presumably because of the low bandwidth of that thing. So this is up to 4K at 60 Hertz, and because of that, when you're running games from the Android device, you get minimal input lag, which is what you want. So that's what I would recommend, and that's what you'll see in the description. For iPhones, the Lightning to HDMI cable that I found is only 1080p at 60 Hertz. I wasn't able to find one that went all the way up to 4K, but this actually seems to do the trick. So I'll put a link to this in the description as well. Also an affiliate link. And yeah, a Bluetooth controller. Xbox controls are the most versatile, in my opinion. They connect to the most devices, very standard format that most of us are used to by now. And lastly, you need a monitor or a TV. Either will do, as long as they have an HDMI input.
If you have all of these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, you basically have a fully functional console. Now, it's not as powerful as some of the later generations of consoles, but that's arguably not as important as it used to be. But we'll get to that later. So you may have noticed I have Fortnite running right now. That's because even though this will work for literally thousands of games, Fortnite is one of the best games to demonstrate to you what I'm talking about. A, it's free, and B, there are so many different ways you can play it. You can play the native version if you have an Android device.
This is the native Android build. As you can see, pretty decent frame rate here on this starting island. It does dip a little when when we actually drop into the main battle area and head straight down to Earth. You'll see they start to pick up again. And this is really going to be limited by whatever device it is that you're using, but you do have some control over the graphics settings on this native build.
If you have an iPhone,
you have to be in the EU if you want to play a native iPhone build of the game, unfortunately. I'm not in the EU, so I haven't done that. But what you can do is play it on a cloud streaming service. So I will quickly also show you Fortnite on Amazon Luna, which is one of the cloud streaming services I mentioned. Again, you could use GeForce Now. You could also use Xbox Cloud Streaming. What is it called? Xbox Cloud Gaming. And we are in. And yeah, there is a minor delay there. I mean, it's noticeable. Once you've been playing though for a couple of minutes, I found that your brain kind of adjusts to the delay and you compensate for it automatically. So it's not too bad. When you look at the actual graphics, I mean, they look really good. So you get better lighting effects and better draw distance, that sort of thing, on the cloud version than you would on the Android build. Like the reflections and things look a whole lot better on this. Yeah, and there you go. I mean, it looks really good, doesn't it? And in fact, I mean, there's more than just Fortnite on these cloud services. They all have premium versions of their subscriptions as well, which will give you access to loads more games. So, I mean, that's totally up to you. I don't feel the need to subscribe to any of them myself, but that's just me.
Alright, so another interesting and relatively recent place to get a hold of mobile games is Netflix. That's the Netflix mobile app. And it has the trilogy of the GTA Definitive Edition. So that includes GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas. Now, when these came out, they were in pretty bad shape, but they're looking a whole lot better today than they were back then. Definitely worth checking out. The library on Netflix is a little more limited, but there are a few good games. This is my list, which I just put together a couple of days ago. Take a look, see if there's anything you're interested in there. If you have a Netflix subscription, by all means, check out these games. But I will also show you how San Andreas runs.
Well, yeah, so San Andreas Definitive Edition running in Samsung DeX mode, and it looks good, I have to say. Let's see if I can do anything with the graphics settings. Resolution's already as high as it goes. Yeah, I mean, that looks like all you can really do, but I mean, it does look good, I'm not gonna lie, for something running off of a phone. Okay, so this is Call of Duty Warzone, and this is an Android game, and it's just running natively on the Galaxy S23 Ultra, and I'll show you how it goes. I mean, it runs phenomenally well, really smoothly. It almost feels like cheating using a controller in a mobile game, assuming everyone else is playing with their touchscreens. Doesn't seem fair, but I mean, it runs really well. It kind of feels like a previous generation console, like Xbox 360 or PS3 era version of Call of Duty. But yeah, it runs really well.
Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to show you is some retro gaming using emulation.
So this is an app called Daijisho, and it's a front end for emulation software.
It's not available on iPhone, unfortunately, but there is another app called RetroArch, which is available on both iPhone and Android. So, feel free to check that one out too.
And basically, if you're willing to go through the effort of actually setting up an emulation library, it works really, really well. It does take a little bit of time to set up, but as you can see, all these different systems available, and yeah, I'll show you how some of these games run. Mortal Kombat 2 is one of my favorites. I've added the CRT filter to it, just like the way it looks. It reminds me of how it used to play back in the day. Oh, and how great does this look? Oh, a little bit out of practice. Whoa. Oh, got me. Ah, the comeback.
Anybody recognize this? What a classic. Alright guys, that's it for today. But if you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. I hope you found it useful. And I'd really love to be able to make a career out of doing this. And you can really help me out by liking, subscribing, leaving a comment, maybe even watching some of my other videos. If you are thinking about purchasing any of the equipment that I mentioned in the video, if you use one of my affiliate links, that will help me out a great deal. So anyway, thanks for sticking around again, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.